Holy Paul Williams Penguin Batman! Tiki here. And I am watching through each and every episode of Batman the Animated Series for the first time. And alas, after watching through every episode and a couple crossovers along the way, we have landed on the third and final feature film in the Cape Crusaders animated filmography, in this canon at least. Dragon, tell them why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way. But now, Batman's become part of a bigger universe, and the mission goes on as we enter the greater DCAU.
So without further ado, folks, welcome to our fan commentary for Batman, Mystery of the Batwoman. Oh yeah, all right. So Dragon, of course, this is the third film following Mask of the Phantasm, masterpiece. Sub-Zero, very, very good, underappreciated little gem of a film. Dragon, this is all right. You know. It is what it is. It's fine. I like it. Honestly, Dragon, it's definitely the movie that suffers from the whole, like, well, this sort of just feels like 3 episodes of Batman the Animated Series kind of stitched up. I mean, yeah, it's a little better than that, but it still kind of suffers from, I don't know, Dragon. There's just something about this one that just doesn't rise to the occasion for me. I like the mystery of it. I like some of the character work in it. I just nothing about this really, like, it's good, but it's not great. You know, it never really draws me in and captivates me the way I think it's trying to. And you know, I think that's a shame because obviously I'm a big advocate for the final season. You know, the new Batman Adventures. I'm sorry, that's what it is, right?
Yes, TNBA, yeah. The new Batman Adventures.
Just checking. So I am an advocate for it, Dragon. There's a lot of episodes in there that I really like and think are underappreciated. But like I said, this is good, and there's some fun moments to be had, and we'll talk about them. But overall, I don't know. I think the mystery and how it's written is the strongest part. But sort of the connective tissue surrounding it, it just really doesn't jump off the screen all that much for me, Dragon. And I got to be honest, I'm kind of worried that I'm not going to have a ton to say about this because, like I said, this falls into my dreaded good but not great category. It falls into my dreaded, like, you know, like it's just a little above mediocre for me. So, as you know, that's honestly kind of like my least favorite type of film to talk about. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, look, Dragon, there is fun stuff in here to be had, but I think you can agree that, I'm sure I don't even have to ask, like, this is a significant step downward from the other 2 feature films that we've had so far.
Yeah, without question. So let me give you a little context here.
Go ahead.
First of all, just a correction. I mean, basically the way we're covering it, we're covering things chronologically. It's kind of our plan here. So just in case anyone's like getting really upsy when they're watching this.
I'm a novice, folks. Like I said, Dragon's the expert here, so he's here to fill me in if I make any mistakes.
We're well aware that Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker came before this movie, and this is the 4th movie of all the films. But again, this is like set before Batman Beyond because we need to get to the future to get to Batman Beyond. That's kind of how we're kind of getting there, kind of chronologically. So that's why we're here where we're at, folks.
Are we going to cover all of Batman Beyond once we're done with Justice League? Is that the plan?
That's the plan.
Okay, sounds good. Anyways,
that's our phase 3, folks. Okay, anyway, so this movie's from 2003, which basically is during kind of the crossover years of Batman, which we have covered with the Static Shock appearances and kind of so on and so forth. And he's kind of in the midst of Justice League, which we are also kind of inching towards. Give you a little peek there. You'll see what exactly our plans are there, but more of that later. So anyway, backstory of Mystery of the Batwoman, not a whole lot, but just to kind of get in there. So this was directed by Kurt Gaeta, who goes on to do tremendous work with Batman Beyond, as well as directing that movie. He has directed up to this point with New Adventures, he did Judgment Day, he did Nighttime, he did Girls' Night Out, did a couple episodes like that. We had a writing duo on this. We had, of course, the great Alan Burnett, the godfather of Batman animation, the man behind episodes like Two-Face from the animated series, and Judgment Day, the other kind of, let's just say, Two-Face-centric episode from New Adventures. And also the wonderful Michael Reeves, who wrote on Phantasm, Mask of the Phantasm, did Second Chance, and Batgirl Returns.
Cool.
Okay, studio. This was done by Dr. Movie.
Dr. Movie, is this a new one?
Yes. So Dr. Movie, you're gonna love Dr. Movie too. Let me tell you about that. So Dr. Movie, they had done the first thing they did in the animated kind of the DCAU was the spin-off from Batman Beyond, which we're not going to cover, but just so folks know, it's called the Zeta Project. It's basically about kind of this robot that was designed to be kind of a killing machine that kind of developed a soul, and it kind of went on. Anyway, so it's a good idea, but. So that show is where Dr. Movie really got its start, which then bled into work for JLU, and then got into other projects like Avatar: The Last Airbender, Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay, one of the greats of the DC continuity line, and also, well, for better or for worse, just to kind of connect the visuals of this.
Oh no! Don't tell me!
Yeah, I mean, because they
don't say it.
Kind of have to. Batman and Harley Quinn animated movie, which we will not be covering, folks.
No, it does not deserve to be in the Batman animated series canon, Dragon.
Yeah, we covered it once already, I mean, just for that reason, Tiki's already seen it, ergo, and for other reasons, we're just not going to subject ourselves to it again. But in terms of just the logic there being, hey, these guys replicated the New Adventure style really well, let's bring them in on that. That was kind of the logic. Okay, so... So Bruce Timm, at this juncture in the DCAU, Bruce Timm is working on Justice League, so he was not involved in this project. So while Bruce Timm's doing that, Alan Burnett, he's always around, and he was, because Return of the Joker went over so well, he's offered, like, hey, you guys want to do another Batman directed-video after Return of the Joker? Says, heck yeah, we want to do that. We love doing the Batman directed videos, yeah.
Oh, so this is, I just realized, so this is like post-Return of the Joker Tim Drake content.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, because again, cool. that comes out in 2000. This is 03, so
Of course.
All right, so Bruce Timm. So as I said, so he's working on Justice League. Meanwhile, so Alan Burnett's kind of manning the ship on this one. He saw the opportunity to, hey, I can do a fun Batman story and do a cool mystery, because I like doing that sort of stuff, a la Phantasm. So, they're also, I imagine, I can't verify this, I would imagine they're capitalizing on Return of the Joker, very famously has a lauded flashback segment, which, again, hence the Tim Drake of it all. Very lauded, and again, big thing, it brought back, while we're in the midst of Batman Beyond, oh my god, we got a glimpse back at the New Adventure style. That's really cool. So, hey, let's go back to the New Adventure style for a movie. So I imagine the buzz from the flashback kind of ushered us into that. Story process on this really easy. Alan Burnett and Michael Reeves basically just kind of pitching things back and forth in the writer's room, real conversational, real fun. So here's the last thing that we'll jump right into. I gotta educate you briefly on Batwoman. Okay, I'm going to keep this simple because this is actually really important. I make this distinction for you. So there are two Batwomen in comics. This is not the modern Batwoman that at least I dread when she pops up.
I really don't care about that one.
I know. Okay, so that's Kate Kane. Now, she was created in 2005. Again, this movie's in 03. She was created in 05. And it's so weird. There's like a trippy 2-year margin between those events, which just kind of throws me. If they waited 2 years, what would have happened? So, way before 05, back in the 50s, there was the original Batwoman. That was Kathy Kane. Named after Bob Kane. So Kathy Kane, she predates even Batgirl. Barbara Gordon, more accurate. There was a Batgirl, but kind of like a Batgirl in title only. Before we had Barbara Gordon, who was attached to, she was the 60s series. It's like, hey, we want to add a third character in our third season, so let's add, let's give Commissioner Gordon a daughter, Barbara Gordon, all that sort of stuff. So predates her, and the whole reason Batwoman was created was because of Frederick Worth and because of the seduction of the innocent, comic books on trial, kind of McCarthyism for the comics. We're afraid Batman and Robin are going to be perceived as gay.
Oh no!
Give them more lady contacts, more lady friends. So that was the whole creation of Batwoman. It was really two-dimensional. And again, the 50s were not the best year for Batman, in my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree. At least the 60s got kind of a little more stylish, and the media really helped. in that 50s.
Well, I mean, what you just said with the 60s, I mean, what you just said, it's kind of like a fact that's sort of fleeting, but like, is it true that Barbara Gordon was created specifically for the show?
Specifically for the show, and then
I mean, yeah, I mean, I honestly, Dragon, I never knew that. I mean, like, honestly, I think the 60s show, this is an entirely different conversation, of course, but the 60s show is kind of it's a pillar for Batman. I mean, in a lot of ways, obviously. So.
Again, the show really does dictate. It's kind of funny how cyclical it is. The 60s comics influenced the series, and then vice versa. The series really influenced the comics. And then, the 70s kind of basically gets us to Batman the Animated Series, and like going back to the detective stuff from the 40s. It's kind of a weird, kind of timey-wimey thing, way things turned out. Anyway, so Seduction of the Innocent, again, that gives them a love interest. So basically, what happened to Batwoman, the 50s Batwoman, that essentially we're talking about here, is that as the times changed and Batgirl caught on like wildfire because people loved her, once we get to the 60s, we ended up just kind of killing her off because, we just killed her off because, again, she served no purpose, and it was always like, who's this? Basically, she was like a wealthy socialite. Says, hey, Batman can do it. Why can't I? That was her whole shtick. She was like just a rich lady who could do acrobatics, who wanted a chance to meet Batman. Ergo, I'm going to put on a mask and use my money and again, kind of like a Batman for the wrong reasons, essentially. Anyway, so of course now years later we have Kate Kane, which basically gives us the the CW show Oh Joy. Anyway, so thankfully I don't have to talk about any of that, but last little fun note is this is one of the few movies that was not recorded entirely like a radio play, like they've done everything else up to this point. The way they recorded these, they kind of put everyone, and it was one of the rare feathers in the cap that the animated series had with Batman. They all sat together, like Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, they all sat in the same room together. They started using the phone patch technique, which is really big. Like they had like people calling in who couldn't be there, and they kind of started that with Return of the Joker, and now they do with a whole bunch of other characters in this movie. So that process gets started here, then kind of adapted to the other stuff. All right.
Okay.
I bored you long enough. We're gonna set up our little commentary here, folks. So, folks, we're gonna try to keep this as conversational and as kind of linear as we can. But if you'd like to watch along with us, you're more than welcome to. It's on HBO Max. Maybe you have the DVD. Maybe you have Amazon. Maybe you found it some other way, mysterious way. I don't know.
Or you could always rent it on YouTube or something. I don't know. Redbox.
Okay.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe by some off chance you live in a town that still has a video store and you rented it. All right, I'm gonna stop. Anyways, Dragon, do the set it up.
Of course, yeah, we're gonna have we kind of do this the Lethal Weapon style here, folks. Again, gonna try to keep this podcast light as possible. If you want to watch along, Tiki's gonna cue you when he says go. We go on go. 1, 2, 3, go. When he says the word, hit play, get to the 0 mark. Get all the way to the 0 mark. Any which way you have it should time out just about the same, whether it's HBO or the DVD. Fingers crossed. And Bob's your uncle. All
right, let's do it. Batman, Return of the Batwoman in 1, 2...
Mystery of the Batwoman.
Sorry. Get my wires crossed with Return of the Joker there. That's a good way to start. Okay. Batman, Mystery of the Batwoman in 1, 2, 3, go! I wonder if they're going to do anything with this logo for Space Jam.
No, they have the new Warner Brothers shield now. That's probably what they're going to do.
God. Anyways, I'm on to brighter. Like, as much as this movie is, it's good. It's a little bit of a step down from the other two. It's not Space Jam 2.
All right, so okay.
You mentioned that we start with you mentioned the style, and of course we start with that iconic red sky, and that right away just kind of draws us into the world.
Yeah, there's a big detail we haven't covered yet, except with Static Shock, I guess, technically. This is the first Batman-related thing that we have the digital cleanup on, if you notice. We have the New Adventures was done on cell animation. This is done, they kind of draw it directly on the computer.
Yeah, I mean, I always prefer it kind of like the rougher cell look, but you're right, it does look good. It does kind of like give it a bit more of a theatrical quality.
Yeah, I mean, basically as they reached, I want to say, the second season of Batman Beyond, that's when they started the digital cleanup look, which was on Justice League through the beginning. So that's kind of where we're at right now in terms of the production of these things.
All right, so So I'll say right now, I do really like the design of Batwoman, and I mean, especially compared to the shit show that I've seen from the few pictures of the modern day Batwoman costumes that we've been getting.
Yes, now it's
It's
fun.
sleek and it's very kind of like Terry McGinnis Batman-esque.
Yes, so yeah, Kurt Gaeta, he updated the 50s look of Batman, which was the only one they really had to work with at this time. And again, it's very clearly Batman Beyond inspired. And
Mhm.
hence them having worked on Batman Beyond, they kind of got the idea like, hey, let's cover her face because otherwise our mystery angle won't really work for what they do in this film with kind of our spoiler alert, folks. Hopefully you've
Right,
seen the
right.
movie, multiple Batwomen. And also, it's really cool. We really intimate in this opening, again, visually, not Batgirl, because no big red hair or anything. Look-wise, very distinct from that. Oddly, the logo does kind of link to Batman Beyond and does go on to influence the logo of the Kate Kane Batwoman that comes 2 years later and onward.
Mhm.
So I love how this sequence visually conveys what you need to know about this Batwoman, who we're just now meeting. She's firing a plasma rifle at these guys, almost killing henchmen. She's clearly not okayed by Batman. Clearly not. Which is always kind of the case. Even like years later, when we get like Kate Kane, that Batwoman used guns, and she was on the outskirts of the Bat family, which is why I've always argued Batwoman never really clicked. Is that, it's like she's always like, you can't say, oh, she's absolutely, like, she's like Jason Todd, she's part of the Bat family. Not really. It's like they don't really. She just happens to wear the bat get up and everything. It's like, she's just like, we have to deal with her. She's kind of family, but not like the go-to.
Mhm. I do like that we start with just this kind of like three-way chase, just because it's a very kinetic action sequence. And like you said, it does kind of frame it like, okay, like this is the style that Batman is just not used to. I like it that Batman and Robin in this opening scene are almost kind of just like observers more than anything else. It's like I like that they're not even like really interfering.
Yeah, they're kind of like kind of gauging her, her performance here. Like, okay, can we, can we abide her style here as like another vigilante in town, or like, okay, no, that's definitely not a good thing. Another vigilante in town who is not subscribing to our code, or and basically she's using our mantle for her own agenda here. That's not good. That's no bueno. Of course, using a very Miyazaki-looking glider here.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I love this save here. I love this grab here by the bat plane. Nice. I love when Batman saves people. That's cool. Something I want to get in there. If you notice, this is really cool. They digitally put in the backgrounds from the original animated series for the wide shots of the city. When you look down on the city, it's exactly from Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, that's cool. No, I didn't. I mean, I honestly like wouldn't have been able to tell either way. I don't know the backgrounds that good, but that's a cool detail though.
I mean, it's straight out like the Art Deco, kind of like the things like
Right.
drawing the black papers, like kind of. I guess they took pictures and they somehow digitized or they kind of recreate like exactly why it looks like. It looks like the backgrounds are cell animated even though they're not moving. That's why I have like cell dirt built on the buildings.
All right. So in regards to the mystery dragon, I do what I like about the film. Like I said, I do think that the mystery is the strongest element of this movie. Is that I like that throughout the movie, it's like you and Batman are kind of on the same page. It's like, in each of the three acts, it seems like there's a different main suspect, and then it all turns out they're all they all did it. Yeah, I really think it's a clever writing twist, and it kind of keeps you on your toes as you watch the movie.
Hey, real quick, I love this shot because it's a reference to Laughing Fish. Like they have that painting of Batman going to find the Joker and have like that light effect on him. So we mirrored that here. Honestly, this whole opening's kind of cool and it's tonal. Lolita Ritmanis, who goes on to score Justice League, she also does Brave and the Bold. Hence, like a lot of the horns in the music here. If you listen, it sounds a little bit like kind of the jazz.
Yeah, the music in this one is interesting. I was going to bring that up because to me it definitely feels like it's almost going for a little bit more of a John Williams Superman vibe, a little bit with the horns.
Little bit, yeah. And again, it feels very like proto Brave and the Bold to me, which I really enjoyed. Kind of going back because I loved kind of doing that da when Batman shows up. Kind of have a little kind of more somber kind of. I don't know. I think it's the opening kind of sets a tone nicely here. Kind of our cool establishing Batman.
I like this shot, by the way. The swinging over the shitty city and then the giant shadow.
Yeah, it looks very similar to kind of the Batman covers
bat
of the 40s.
Symbol. I love the scale of the bat symbol on that shot.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Again, the way they've integrated those backgrounds looks real. I completely forgot years later going back. It's like, man, the backgrounds really turned out perfectly on this. And I got some good money shots here. Okay, so the but yeah, speaking to your Batwoman point, yeah, the mystery, it does really add a lot to the rewatch, knowing, because now when I rewatch, I can go back to who you think's in the suit at certain parts of the movie. When you really think about it, it does make sense. Like, yeah, that person would be in the suit at this time. Okay, so we have some good Alfred exposition here about, okay, so we got a new vigilante in town, and of course Alfred's like, okay, I ain't touching that one.
Okay, can I just point out, this might be one of my top 5 favorite Alfred performances, Dragon, in Batman the Animated Series. I think he's on fire.
I mean, it's no phantasm, but he is great in this. Then again, Alfred's never disappointed, ever, though.
Well, I mean, we've already established this many times over. When in any medium ever has Alfred ever been disappointed?
But especially Zimbalist, man.
Right, but it's just an odd enigma all around, though. Seriously, show me a bad Alfred, folks. I dare ya.
So Rupert Thorne here. We have never seen him in New Adventures. So they had to redesign him for this movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he's integrated very naturally.
You'll notice he lost a little weight. Yeah, I have a little card thing he's doing. I believe a reference to '89 with the Joker's playing cards. He keeps shuffling the cards, to set up the whole clown thing.
All right, so we're about to get to kind of like a little bit of an elephant in the room for me at least. Yeah, Paul Williams, no longer Penguin. Well, also let's set up the Kevin Michael Richardson character as well.
Yeah, so Carlton Duquesne. I have things to say about him later, but he is. I think I really like his character. In this.
I do too. Okay,
real quick, I want to talk about the setting before we get into the whole. I'll tell you about the whole Paul Williams thing. So I love the setup for the Penguin, though. I love the idea that we have bric-a-brac, which essentially is the Penguin's manufacturing plant for all the curios and keychains and merchandise on the top. But at the bottom, you have the arm where he's building the arms and he's selling it like an arms factory below it. I think that's awesome. It's a great idea. That's what he's been doing with all the money he got from the Iceberg Lounge. It's great.
Kind of reminds me of a comic book version of the Breaking Bad laundry or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. Yeah, the front is the front.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what happened. Here's why we recast the Penguin. So Alan Burnett, is not crazy about the Penguin, but he knew he had a role in the story. And he wanted, because he doesn't have much of an attachment to the Penguin, he wanted to up the menace and the cool factor of the Penguin as a boss. They go up with these.
Fired Paul Williams.
Well, no, let me. Well, mind you, this is years after New Adventures is ended.
I had assumed that Paul Williams had gone AWOL.
Well, I mean, I don't think they went out of their way to find Paul Williams. And here's the thing. Bruce Timm has gone back and he said, look, if I were working on this, I absolutely would have stuck with Paul Williams. But, he's sticking by Alan Burnett. Alan's going to do what he's going to do. He went with David Ogden Stiers. So let's be honest. If you're going to cast somebody else in the role of thing, David Ogden Stiers.
Here's the thing. If it's literally anyone other than Paul Williams, I kind of don't care as much. It's Paul Williams is just kind of a special case, man. It's a special case. Ogden Stiers is good. He's fine. He makes sense in the role. I mean, honestly, he'd make sense as a live action Penguin to a certain extent. But man, I don't know. Paul Williams I just think it's a shame that we didn't get one last go of him, especially because he is important to the story.
I mean, sure. I don't know though. I still like that Ogden Stiers continued the refinement. And again, if you notice the Penguin, they tried to make him a literal heavy, and that they've added weight to him. They're trying to make him just more intimidating. And I mean, look, I don't really think it necessarily mattered at the end of the day in terms of why did we have to make him more intimidating? Because he's the Penguin, and there's a charm to that character already with the Paul Williams take. But I don't think we necessarily downgraded. I do
that this Penguin has kind of the creepy uncle vibe for this character right here.
Yeah, and again, Ogden Stiers kind of shorthands a warmth that you need of, okay, so he knows this family. You kind of get it. So, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a downgrade, but you're right that of course I miss Paul Williams.
Literally this is exactly what I'm saying, Drake. I'm sorry, but just to reemphasize, it's Paul Williams, and Paul Williams is a very special, rare case where literally any voice actor on the planet would be a downgrade.
I mean, sure. I mean, because he's irreplaceable, sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
I'm just saying we could have done a lot worse, though, in terms of who.
You could have.
All right, so I want a little Phantasm kind of thing here. There are a couple comparisons to Phantasm, given the mystery and given certain aspects of this film. But I love that Gordon kind of serves the same role, and we gave him more lines this time because Phantasm Gordon only has like one appearance. Like, but again, it's the same thing here. It's just like, hey, Commissioner, is this Batwoman linked to is the
You
Batwoman
want to
linked to
just
Bat?
keep talking about that Gordon and not
I
even bring up this Gordon?
well, I was gonna get to it. Someone's getting hung up on the Paul Williams.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so I just like the fact, Gordon is like, he's defending Batman. He's gonna, he kind of pops up a little bit more here versus Phantasm. That's kind of nice. Anyway, so yeah, so this is so again, I want to be clear. So Batman Beyond chronologically, that's where we address that. Okay, Batman and Barbara Gordon had Bruce and Barbara had a thing going on in the past, and this is where
It's so uncomfortable to see it here. It's so uncomfortable. I don't like it at all. I have never not liked it less than I don't like it now, Dragon.
Yeah, so it's one thing in Batman Beyond they're old, when they're basically they're elderly to say like something happened way back when, but it's another thing to when we now have to loop that into the story, which now we've put that out there and we're going back like this.
And the thing is, like Babs, she's away at college. She literally could have just been cut out of the story entirely.
But of course, you can't do that because there's going to be the obvious question of, wait a minute, there's a Batwoman. We got to talk about Batgirl.
But my defense to that though, Dragon, is you could just literally have like one line, like, "Oh, are we sure this isn't Barbara?" No way, it's Barbara. Barbara's at college. I just visited her last weekend or something like that.
Now, to be fair, to defend it very, very slightly, is that Bruce Wayne is uncomfortable with it, like the audience is. That's the one thing that saves it here. Though this is when it officially begins, though, which makes it creepy. But still, it's like is the fact that Barbara is pursuing things, though. Like I
do agree that was like, all right, at least Bruce is like not okay with it.
I mean, look, I'm all for throwing Tara Strong a bone. Like, come on, we're doing a Batman project.
I know, but I feel bad. I hear.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't want Batgirl in this story just for that reason. Just to basically start that fire, but
All right.
All right, okay. A little fun fact we kind of passed. I won't mention here because nothing really of substance is going on at the moment. I love that we worked in the iconic Batman logo with the red, the symbol, the silhouette in the red background when they were like Batwatch on the news. That was really cute. Like after all these years, we worked in the logo to the series. That was cute.
Right.
All right, so Roxanne Ballantyne. So this is one of those phone patch jobs. I don't necessarily mean phone. I don't want to say phone patch is a bad thing because like Angie Harmon, who did the voice of Barbara Gordon for Return of the Joker. Like she did a phone patch, and that was a great performance. But Kelly Ripa kind of phoning it in. Let's be honest. Kelly Ripa as Roxanne.
I like the character just because I'm a sucker for geeky girls, but yeah, as far as the performance goes, it's fine. Like I honestly don't think I'm as bothered by it as you are, maybe.
No, look, I want to. It's just the fact of like we overplayed the klutziness, and here's the thing: her whole character she is unmistakably a red herring. That's her whole point. Out of our three Batwomen, she's the most red herring. We're like, okay, she's got the tech, which is unmistakably has to be Batwoman.
Sure.
And she's like, oh, she's too clumsy.
Ooh, hey, we have a shot of that character right up against the bat symbol. Could it mean anything? Probably not.
All right, so we have the rooftop scene again, as I mentioned. Again, one thing that Phantasm doesn't have more Gordon, so I can get behind that. And well, something else I should mention at the top here, what makes this really memorable is I
forgot
this is the last.
Bullock dropped a Star Trek reference.
Yes, and I love how we kind of we call
Sorry,
out.
Go ahead.
We call out what '90s Spider-Man always had as a dilemma, like, hey, we have Star Trek-looking laser weapons now. And Batman makes the very astute observation, no, these are plasma rifles that could take out tanks for the military. These are military-grade weapons in the DCAU, essentially. Okay, we saved it. But the bittersweet aspect of this film, though, is this is the last time we're going to hear Robert Costanzo and Bob. Well, I mean, to be fair, Costanzo comes back in Arkham Origins, but that's like one time during the video game. But this is the last time we're going to hear Bob Hastings and Bob Costanzo as Gordon and Bullock.
Oh, you just stabbed me right in the heart, Dragon. Right in the heart.
No, it makes me sad too, because again, the last time we're ever going to hear the iconic Commissioner Gordon. But
so, oh man, so just to clarify, I didn't know this. He's not like, is he not in Justice League, or did they recast him, or what?
Never. No, they don't appear anymore.
They don't. Oh, god damn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Dragon. Take us through some of what's going on. I'm gonna need a second to process that.
Okay,
That's a bummer, man.
Okay, so we have introduced Sonya, who essentially is our replacement for Montoya, which is kind of ironic given like around this point Montoya becomes the question in the comics, so she takes on like a costumed vigilante identity
Yeah, I
from
was
the.
gonna say, I feel like you could have just easily swapped Montoya into the story and it would have worked just as well.
Yeah, but DC does have a little bit of control over who puts on the costume, Tiki. So I don't think that would have flown with them. I'm not sure.
That's fair. That's
Kind
fair.
of weird. But anyways, we have Sonia Alcada, who does have an interesting story in her own right. But more on that later. And again, I like the little clue detail where basically the truck driver who was doing that illegal shipment that we saw at the top there, he had a little penguin keychain, which the bric-a-brac, which is the warehouse, which basically signifies the arms deals are absolutely going through the penguin like Batman suspects. And think about it, who was there during that revelation? It was Sonya, and hey, who's there right now? It's Batwoman. I wonder where she got that tip.
Okay, can I just say Tim Drake saying "Welcome to a superhero team up" is like probably the lamest line in this whole movie.
Yeah, this is by the way, this is Eli Marienthal voicing Robin, the same Robin from Static Shock. So this is kind of the era of Robin we're at right
Okay.
now in continuity. And Eli Marienthal, for the kids out there, was Hogarth Hughes in Iron Giant.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, look, he's a fine voice actor. I'm just saying, like that line is just kind of like, all right, yeah, Robin. It's like we're this far along into the DCE animated universe that team ups aren't really a big deal. You don't really have to make a big public statement out of it
Let's be
anymore.
honest. It's kind of odd how this works, but the most compelling Tim Drake stuff, he doesn't even say a word in really when you think about it.
Right.
I mean, nothing against like New Adventures. We had some very solid, wonderful Tim Drake stuff. I'm just saying, like the most iconic Tim Drake stuff in the DCAU. He doesn't say a word. He just laughs a lot, and it's not even him doing the voice. All right. So yeah, the action in this is really good. Though, so they give points there, and again,
Yeah,
this is
it's
them
pretty
after.
solid.
And this is them like after having worked on Justice League and everything. And of course, the DCU has some patented, really
Ooh,
good action.
that's actually going to be interesting. That we're going to kind of like we're at this right now, and then we're kind of going to go back to kind of like trace the evolution of the animation style through Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, Dragon. I like that we're kind of like shifting around the timeline a little bit here,
Oh yeah.
keeping people on their toes.
Absolutely. So this is really clever. So there's a different voice for the Batwoman persona, which again makes it so no one can guess who.
That was really clever. I noticed that in the credits.
So Kira Sedgwick does the voice of the Batwoman persona, she was like Lois Lane in the Justice League New Frontier animated movie. She's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, her really funny roles. Madeline Wench, she's good actress. So I like. Here's the problem. I think we waste her a little bit in the role because the double-edged sword of Batwoman in this film is that Batwoman herself isn't a character. She's, again, kind of a red herring. She's a mystery. She's a MacGuffin.
That's kind of the point, though. So
That is the point, though. So, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying that's kind of the double-edged sword.
I mean, look, I feel like it's a challenge, to do a voice that's essentially like three different people coming up with a voice that they can use between the three of them,
Yeah.
and having it sound like it could have come from any three of those voice actresses. So Kara Sedgwick, I just think that is impressive that she managed to get it's an oddly specific role. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what I like about I think how they save themselves with this is the fact that, again, the 50s Batwoman, again, is a very amorphous, she's there for a very stupid reason, like to give Batman and Robin dates. But outside of that, that's what I'm saying, it's a very two-dimensional character, and we've taken the two-dimensional thing where, Batwoman herself doesn't really have to mean anything. What we've done here is, we've made the reason for Batwoman everything. So, again, so making her somewhat two-dimensional, but giving her, more kind of a reason for being there kind of helps, again, adds depth to a really kind of blank slate character.
Right.
Of course, he has some great action here. Batman just kind of sneaking around on gangsters' balconies, and it's awesome. You're kicking the crap out of henchmen, and again, let's talk about Carlton Duquesne. So Carlton Duquesne, I really like. Here's the weird analogy I have. He has it seems like this particular has a very Tony Soprano aspect to him, in that he's a mobster with family, and he's just just seeing this flawed family man aspect to him.
Yeah, I really liked him because I feel like it was a fresh kind of it was a fresh perspective into the mob scene of Gotham, and you know, like, because of course we're so used to just like Penguin kind of being our only like, you know, our only really, you know, really big tie. Like he's like the, you know, Penguin, Rupert Thorne to a certain extent, you know, people like that. But I think that this guy, he's easily probably the most sympathetic mob boss that I mean, he's, you know, he's a bad guy, but, you know, we can kind of feel his struggle more than, you know, obviously he's a little bit more humanized than some of the other mob bosses that we've had. I thought that was a fresh take, man. I really did enjoy that.
He brought a nice level of complexity to the role. And little fun fact, it doesn't have anything to do with this film, but just for my Tony Soprano comparison, Kevin Michael Richardson does a flawless James Gandolfini impression, just in case anyone's curious. Just gonna throw that out.
Okay, I'm terribly sorry, Dragon. You're gonna have to remind me of the name of the character, but he also very much reminded me of the character that overthrew Machine Head in Invincible.
Oh, you mean Titan?
Yes.
Or Hershali and Titan
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that for sure.
Daughter, and he's like, you know, he's kind of like trying to, in some ways, he's, you know, he's in the mob kind of for the power of it all, and he's still kind of trying to be a family man.
Certainly.
All right, anyways.
Okay, so Kathy Duquesne. So again, technically, of any of our Batwoman, she, again, just per the whole Kate, you know, Kathy Kane, Kathy Duquesne. So if you're wondering what the deal with that is, so her name is Duquesne in this because DC would not allow a villainous Batwoman, who, again, in this case, is antagonistic towards Batman and his agenda. So DC would not give them the okay on that, so they had to change.
I mean, I'm sure, but like, it's not like Batwoman's like the main villain of this thing.
I'm aware. It's just they wouldn't let her.
That's weird.
Hey, I'm just reporting it, man. I don't.
Yeah.
That was their logic. They would not pull the trigger on it. Kimberly Brooks.
I'm sorry. That's really odd. I don't mean to dwell on it.
And again, it's the fact that at this time, Batman.
Okay, hold on, really quick. I love this maneuver that Bruce does with the escalator.
Yeah, okay, so Kathy and Bruce's dynamic in this film, it's very Roman Holiday to me. Like, they're Roman Holiday shenanigans with, like, kind of some more kind of hilarious stuff, you know, kind of action and more like physical comedy with the henchmen. These henchmen are a wonderful runner throughout the film, by the way, how they just keep getting the crap kicked out of them by both Batman and Bruce Wayne. There's like two schlubs just trying to do their job. They're guarding a young woman who they have to go on shopping sprees with, and they don't like. One of them misses working for the Joker. And that just shows you how bad this assignment is if he misses working for the Joker.
Okay, once again, Alfred is just casually observing the situation and just kind of like making just sort of like lighthearted, sarcastic remarks.
Yep.
You know, what he's
like
good at.
Dennis the Menace while he's waiting.
Oh my god, I forgot about the Dennis the Menace thing.
I just love the idea of like this pleasure drive stakeout that Bruce and Alfred are on the whole day. It's just really. I just love how kind of laid back and casual it is. And again,
can you just I just want you to picture this, Dragon. Like I just want you to picture Alfred. You know, he's getting ready for his day, right? He's making a cup of tea, maybe some toast. And he's thinking like, oh, I'm going to have to go out with Master Bruce all day on patrol. I'm going to have to read something. Let's see. What do I want to read? What book do I want? Let's see. Well, War and Peace? No, that's a little bit too, that's a little bit too heavy. Oh, Dennis the Menace. Oh, big bounded collection of Dennis the Menace. Perfect. It'll keep my mind off of all Master Bruce's shenanigans.
I think the simpler thing is like,
the thought process of Alfred picking out a book to read is just delightful to me. Anyways, sorry.
The simpler thing is like, I'm going to pick up the news, and the man really died. He just goes straight to the comics section of the newspaper. I think that's true. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. That right now we have like some fun Roman Holiday shenanigans between Bruce and Kathy here. And Alan Burnett, basically what Alan Burnett, he was the champion behind this whole thing here, where basically he's feeling his phantasm oats, where, you know, it's the idea of like, hey, let's take a page from the Book of Dean. Let's focus on Bruce Wayne, let Bruce Wayne do detective work in the daytime that's going to feed into Batman's work at night, which again correlates with when Batman was kicking the crap out of Duquesne's men, he saw he had a daughter. So there's your insides of the organization. And again, Bruce Wayne being playfully kidnapped, and deep down, Batman's always a bit of a thrill seeker with the Catwoman of it all. So, this girl's in trouble. So, you can kind of, he's having a little bit of a fun. It's harmless fun in this case. I'll admit I don't need the tree bit. I think she's getting a little too kind of wispy, if you will, not wispy, a little wistful. That's what I'm looking. A little wistful, like speechifying. Kathy, be careful. You just sound like my mom. No one actually go into a whole story about your mother. Get off the tree. What are you doing?
Right.
I mean, it's a nice sentiment given what happened to your mother, and I feel bad for her. I do. It's just like you really that's a bad transition. I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you. To me, this whole scene kind of like it's good. Like I like the dynamic dragon, but I do agree that the whole time she's on the tree, it's kind of just like, all right, like look, it's a very precarious spot you're in, Kathy. Just get down from there. Come on, what are you doing?
I want to give major kudos to something though on the rewatch, which I forgot just how well it held up. Kevin Conroy's performance in this, as it always is, but seriously, in this performance in this movie of all places, he gives a really solid performance. I mean, there's something, if you really listen, there's something there's like an aged wisdom that I guess he had experienced by working on Justice League and Batman Beyond at this point, of like a guy who's been through everything, that is applied to Batman when he's playing hard-boiled detective later, and Bruce Wayne just kind of like being able to kind of lighten up here and there with the girl. Like he has this really nice moment where, he says, she mentions, the loss of apparently, I know what it's like to lose a parent. I wish I could tell you, like what it's like not to come from a family like that. Like, that's, I don't know, it's just something. There's a nice bit of truth in that.
Yeah, definitely.
His performance gets really good too when he's grilling Sonya on the roof later. It's one of the best scenes in the film. I felt that, and there's a Bruce Wayne scene towards the very end with Kathy. We'll get to, but yeah, of course, the rich people problems. Hey, take the car. Whenever return to whenever.
Yeah, swing by whenever. Keep it if you want. It's all good.
Yeah, because again, she just kind of did kidnap him, leave him out there, but hey, left him with the car. And again, this is kind of the fun, kind of bittersweet quality of Batman here. Also, wonderful bat entrance, just coming from the alley.
Sure.
The shadow work Batman's shadow work is flawless in the film, but if you notice, every other character has terrible shadow work in this film because of the digital cleanup. If you really look.
Oh yeah, I just noticed the Bullock shadows. Yeah.
I mean, later on, I mean characters who were trying to hide in shadow. When we have Bane later, Bane looks terrible in shadow. If you look at it, when we first introduced Bane, the shadow work's terrible.
That's funny.
And again, Batman, just kind of the Bruce Wayne versus the Batman dynamic here. Like, okay, so Bruce, he's kind of forged a bond with this girl, but Batman has to, basically turn her into the GCPD. Look, she's my prime suspect right now. I think Carlton Duquesne's daughter is trying to avenge her mother's death. And essentially, her mother was caught in the crossfire. Someone tried to take out her father, ended up killing the mother. Which is a really good motivation for why she'd want to have a grudge against her father.
Dragon, quell my paranoia. What's your time stamp right now?
29 minutes.
Oh, somehow you're 10 seconds ahead of me. I don't know how that happened.
No idea.
Weird.
Okay, so Batwoman is sneaking into Rupert Thorne's office right now.
Okay.
Now, given this is Rupert Thorne's office, my assumption is that this is Sonya as well. Also, the spy camera. I love the spy camera every time it appears. Ever since I saw it in the animated series, it seems like a little thin rectangular camera. It's awesome. I love it every time it shows up. Sorry, little gadget love there. So, just knowing that Bane is, again, spoilers, folks, knowing that Bane is going to show up in this film, and knowing that the last time Bane was introduced properly, not like through a dream sequence or through a crossover, Rupert Thorne and Bane did not get off on the greatest of circumstances, given the whole betrayal thing. It would take a lot to get Rupert Thorne to hire Bane, and this is a lot. Where, oh my God, we're in over our heads with Kaznia, which by the way is a big deal. We kind of glossed over that. So Kaznia is in the DCAU. Kaznia is DC's fill-in for Russia. As in, anytime things are getting dicey overseas, it's like imagine Russia with a nation that's in a civil war with itself. That's kind of the combination. So I think that's kind of Kaznia. Like they have like DC in animation, they do like Kaznia or Ralasia being North Korea, like North Ralasia and South Ralasia. But I won't bore you with those details. The point being, Kaznia pops up in Batman Beyond and in Justice League. So Kaznia keeps coming up like a bad penny, and this is like one of the times it comes up. Our main plot being our bad guys are trying to strike a big weapons deal overseas, and obviously if Batwoman keeps destroying their weapons and crippling their organization, the Kaznians are not going to be happy, and they're going to have an international incident of like international guns pointed towards their heads if they fail. So that's the pressure.
Yeah.
Carlton Duquesne here, he's really, the gun's really on him. You're the muscle. You're supposed to stop this Batwoman. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna jump ahead to Bane, I don't know. Bane is kind of like one of the. I don't know, Dragon. This is kind of where I feel like
We
I
can wait
feel
on
like the
Bane if you
movie.
like, but
Well, I mean, I'm just saying the movie. The movie has maybe a little bit too many subplots going around, and that's maybe one of the drawbacks of just having the three Batwomen, right? Is that there's a lot to keep track of, and I feel like I feel like all the subplots are good, but none of them really kind of. I feel like you're kind of more fond of them than I am, because overall, I don't really feel like any one of them really kind of takes off the ground.
well, I mean, I do agree in that the double-edged sword is that if we have three Batwoman, which we do in this film, it does. We can't dedicate all of our story focus to one. Ergo, the three suffer total. I think that is absolutely the problem.
Right, and that's probably my biggest drawback with this movie.
I like the idea behind the three of them, but we can't commit our time to one of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially because it's only an hour and 20 minutes, which I know is obviously like the standard runtime for this.
Honestly, it's even less. It's like an hour, probably an hour and 10 minutes.
No, you're right. Yeah, it is kind of like a slightly less than the average runtime for these things.
To be fair, Phantasm was that run as well, but that, again, that's Phantasm. It's not just
Blue Meth, Dragon, Blue Meth.
I know, Blue Meth, but that's what I'm saying, just to show you what they can do with Batman. The DC
right.
So we had a fun gag. One of the great Bullock gags is in this movie, though. The whole, like, say, you never got married. Of course, Bullock's first love is always donuts.
Oh, God.
It's like Cosgrove and meat. If he could have married it, he would have.
God, I forgot about that.
Okay, so then we have, I feel, probably the most dated aspect of the film. So, the music video portion of the film, I'll admit, fittingly incorporated into the Iceberg Lounge, almost Luke Cage Season 1-esque, if you will. Like, well, if you're going to have a musical act, you might as well have it in the Iceberg Lounge. Song...
Give me your timestamp again. I'm going to try to sync up with you.
Okay, 33:30...
Holy crap, I'm behind. Wow, I don't know how that happened at all.
Okay, well, we're in the Iceberg Lounge right now during the big musical number.
Okay, 33 what?
33:45. And counting, so we're in the 33 minutes. About to be 34.
Okay, hold on. Sorry. Keep going.
Anyway, so yeah, it's the song is "Bet You Never," and it's by this artist called Cher, like one of those one-word kind of jobs there. So it's fun fact.
When it gets to 34:24.
All right, I'll let you know.
Okay.
So a lot of dancing in all the Batman directed videos. That's me excluding Phantasm because that was theatrical, by the way. I'm sorry. So what? I'm sorry. 33:24. You said?
Yeah.
Okay, right now.
Yeah, with the dancing dragon, it's weird because it's like this movie, like, it doesn't necessarily like have a DreamWorks dance party ending, but it kind of comes like weirdly close to something like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not helped by the fact that we end the credits with the reprise of the song from the film, but that's probably I think what gives you that feeling. But I'm just saying, think about it. In every movie, we have like the Jitterbug sequence in Sub-Zero. We have the dance sequence in this during the whole Bet You Never. And Return of the Joker, you always have the rave thing from Batman Beyond. So technically, a dance in all the direct-to-video ones.
The Return of the Joker one is probably the one that fits the best in the
film. Yeah, because they always do that in these Batman movies. Just gave it lyrics in Return of the Joker. That's the only difference. The only Batman Beyond is always like a rave going on.
But we did. I do want to emphasize, Dragon. Again, Penguin is the creepy mob uncle. Is a really, really cool detail.
It is.
And also, can I just emphasize? I really like the Dragon's Lair type game that our red herring character was playing earlier.
Yeah, she was helping Tim out with. And again, I like there's also a red herring in terms of maybe a relationship thing. To me, it seemed like they were telegraphing, hey, you think she might be like a love interest for Bruce Wayne. Then we take a right turn with Kathy, and then also, hey, our red herring here has a boyfriend in prison. So again, there are a number of red herrings that worked with her. But again, if we did,
Freddie Jones is just going nuts in this movie. Dragon. Freddie Jones just couldn't take this movie.
No, he couldn't.
Yeah, Freddie Jones especially couldn't take Mayor of Easttown Dragon. Freddie Jones's head would explode with Mayor of Easttown. I'll tell you that.
Let's focus up. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
So okay. So speaking of Roxanne Valentine, again, she was at Wayne Enterprises for a moment there, and again, after Bruce Wayne left, who knows where she went next? And hey, has Penguin is being accosted by the metal, the programmable metal. But the more you struggle, the tighter it gets. By the way, so and again, Roxanne Valentine has a grudge with the Penguin, so I think again evidence would suggest that this is her. Again, when you rewatch it, it's like, oh my god, I can figure out who's the little detective. Sure, I can figure out who's under that mask right now. It's not again, it's a little ambiguous though. It could be one of the other ones just trained to use this thing, but I don't know. It's a hunch. Good to see Penguin's hench girls actually do something here, which we got occasionally in New Adventures, but a little extended action piece here and there. I'll admit though, later on, like in a few seconds, I know what Penguin's thinking is like, hey, I'm going to shoot missiles through my club.
Right.
With witnesses.
He's got good insurance, Dragon. It's.
And so you can kind of see here, if you look again, they added like weight to him here. They made him hefty to go with the voice. And again, that was the idea. We're going a little more Sidney Greenstreet from like Maltese Falcon versus just kind of like the little
Paul Williams. It's Paul Williams. It's Paul Williams. It's Paul Williams. All right,
the donut you're so thing. Agreeable on the topic here. And there's the this man's first love is donuts. Just with
He's so into him, he has to lick off the crumbs, Dragon.
Yeah, that's the desperate. I love donuts more than that. I'd never go for the crumbs. By the way, Penguin had one of the great lines way earlier in the movie in regards to this whole Batwoman. Batman, Batgirl, Batwoman, what is about the city? The water? A great line. I like that Ogden Stiers feels like the proper, like a proper evolution from Burgess Meredith Penguin. I do like that idea. It feels like kind of a blend of what if you took Paul Williams and blended him with Burgess Meredith. I don't know. So this is a great moment here where Batman, our mystery here, realizes, oh my God, it can't be Kathy.
Yeah.
And again, our red herring thing, thinking we found, okay, so the metal thing is a huge clue. Obviously, it would have to be Roxanne Valentine because it can't be Kathy. Who the heck else could it be? It's always a great idea to flood the Iceberg Lounge, given he has this giant, like, kind of iceberg section.
Again, I love the sea lions in the Iceberg Lounge, Dragon. That's just a really cool detail for me. All right. Just right in the face.
Yep. It's been a heck of a flush.
Oh, what do you know? She showed up. She can't be Batwoman at all. Dragon, cross her off the list.
This is what I'm talking. Oh, I think we kind of missed it. But when he was in the limo, Bane. That's what I was talking about with Bane. Where if you saw him in the limo, it was just like you can clearly see that's Bane. That's not a reveal. We should be like reveal here. It's Bane.
Oh yeah, right, for sure.
It was like complete like anyway. So, by little Easter egg here. If you notice the building they walked into, the building that Kathy lives in, it said. It's the T is covered, but it says Tarnower, as in I'm thinking Tarnower Financial from the Clayface episode Mudslides. I think the idea is Tarnower bought a bunch of buildings, and he owns a bunch of buildings. It's a little, you have all the names they could have called it Tarnower. I think it's a pull from the original animated series. I thought it was cute. Anyway. But again, I like the innuendo of the conversation here. Like, hey, Bruce Wayne lucked out that, okay, so Batman, he played the wrong hunch, which means Kathy is not the Batwoman. This might bode well for the girl I'm kind of seeing vaguely here.
Yeah, right.
And this is a nice scene. This scene, again, all of the Batwomen have a good foundation, but just not enough to really individually carry it. Because again, it's
I mean, like you said, I feel like Kathy is probably the one that pops out the most out of the three.
And Kathy's clearly like the go-to Batwoman, but Sonya I think has the best.
Right.
Might have the best backstory to a degree. Where I like this moment between them talking about you inspired me to be a cop when you helped save my family.
That's like good Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Sure. But seriously, this is a nice story about Batman years ago, like she's like probably again we say 9 years ago, which again like I'm sure the DC continuity nuts were really going like their heads were spinning. Oh my God, 9 years? How again? Well, Dick Grayson would have been this many years old in the Robin costume,
right?
Anyway, so I believe 9 years ago this is when this happened, where he's he saved her from Rupert Thorne burning her family's business down. Yeah, it's nice. And again, I think you get that. Okay, this is why she's the one who picked the whole Batwoman gimmick, and you understand why based on that idea. So I like how all three backgrounds do come together, and they all have a great motivation. Basically, I like how it all pays off in Batman unfurling the mystery. But again, in terms of really gravitating towards that character, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I love how frustrated Bruce is here too. He just says like, this isn't coming together. Why not? And now we find out why not. Okay, well, this is what Roxanne's doing. She's visiting her boyfriend in prison here, who's been framed by the Penguin. Of course, you're framed by the Penguin. That means you ain't getting out of prison.
I like that this is almost kind of like a relationship version of the Flash, daddy issue drama.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, don't waste your life on me, Roxanne. I'm not worth it. Don't come back. I won't see you.
Yeah, the idea being like this guy. I want to say,
I feel like they could have set it up way more, right?
yeah, and again, the reason we have it like this is so we can like reveal, okay, everything we thought about this character is that his character, as one note as she seemed to be, like being all clumsy. I'm clumsy, and I'm spilling my paperwork, and I'm throwing sushi at Bruce Wayne. Was all like a misdirect for, oh man, this character has the most tragic of all. Like her boyfriend's been framed by the Penguin, and she actually has a very proactive reason to kind of take down our criminal triad.
I just feel like we could have I feel like the whole it's a good motivation. We just don't really see it, Yeah,
the problem for me with Rocky here is when she's caught by Batman, she's just she's a terrible liar in that scene. She's really not cut out for this. Like when grilled, that's the thing. Kind of takes it down. Like this scene right here. So basically, Batman's playing off the lead that it was Roxanne Valentine after he checked the metal. So I jumped ahead of but Batman gets frustrated later with the mystery, not yet. So anyway. So this scene here, this is kind of like a weak sauce version of the scene from Mask of the Phantasm when Batman's interrogating Andrea Beaumont in her bedroom about like the only person in this room controlled by their parents is you. Powerful scene there. Here, well, not so much. Again, I like Batman's demeanor in this whole thing. Him just like he's completely in control of this situation, and she's just not doing well at all in this interrogation. It's like lying, tripping over herself, lying.
Right. So I really do think the computer stuff is the most dated stuff in the movie Dragon.
Yeah, a little. Again, I was coming a little bit more to like the clear music video insert earlier, but I mean, sure.
The music video insert does feel early 2000s, but I mean, I'm just saying in terms of like computers just do not look like that anymore. It's like we can still have music video type scenes in animated movies. That's not out of the question.
Batman absolutely has her number here. Just like you have absolutely the motivation. Your boyfriend was framed by the Penguin. You have the right body type. You have the technology that was at the scene of the crime. I'm not the only one working in metallurgy. I mean, come on, man. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't know Bruce Wayne was in on that meeting, but Bruce Wayne was in on that meeting.
Right.
See, the thing about Batwoman, and I don't know if there's necessarily something against the film or not, is that we saw earlier when Batman had his like pretty much his only interaction with Batwoman in costume, which is also kind of weird when you think about it. The only interaction is like, hey, you blew up all the evidence that could have been used to take down the criminals. That's not helping. You blew up the factory, miss. I'm getting revenge. She's again, it's revenge versus justice, which is absolutely what Batman's after here. When they're just like, we're going to get revenge on these three guys that did us wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. I got to admit, this is kind of like, this is the part of the movie where I sort of just kind of like the movie, just kind of Bane in particular. Like, I honestly feel like Bane coming in is where the movie sort of starts to crumble under its own foundation. I feel like he's a little too much.
I mean, I like the cool factor of Bane, the fact that he showed up.
But me, Dragon. I'm always down for Bane. I'm always a fan of Bane, but I don't know. I just feel like this. It's just, first of all, it's a movie that's already stuffed, right? Like I feel like we could have spent more time developing each individual Batwoman if the story itself would have just been more focused as, let's say the Penguin is the main big bad,
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like Bane, it's like you said, there is the cool factor, obviously. There's a cool factor for Bane to some extent every time he pops up. I just feel like the cool factor can only get you so far when it's getting in the way of a plot being being coherent.
Oh, this is the part I was referring to earlier, where Batman's just frustrated, like, man, she can't be Batman for the whole time because she was busy for the first thing that happened.
What's going on?
And Alfred solves the mystery, and that's why we love him. Alfred realizes unless she has the power to duplicate herself, like Alfred, almost like an Alfred, you're brilliant moment here, where he's just, okay, Rob, I need you to cross. Again, Batman being the very proactive detective here, now that Alfred's giving him like kind of the eureka moment. Like, Robin, I want you to cross-reference anything these two women have in common. I'm going to make a house call. It's going to investigate Kathy. Mm-hmm. And this is where we basically reveal the mystery to the audience as Batman's catching up. And by the way, they absolutely lifted this loft idea from Nightwing. They go into the tunnel, which leads to kind of this drain pipe kind of area and then the subway. Very Nightwing New Adventures kind of inspired.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool hideout. I'll give it that much.
So I want to mention what Rocky earlier I forgot about is that you never see like a woman's fiance in prison, like a whole an elaborate kind of frame up thing on Saturday morning. I gotta give the movie kudos for breaching into that territory.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I hate to repeat myself here. I just think it would have been a little bit more impactful if we would have maybe spent a little bit more time, like, getting to know exactly how that went down and what her motivation was. I just feel like, as far as screen time goes, she gets the short end of the stick, even though her motivation is compelling. I don't know.
I agree. And, of course, Sonya here, her hubris is that she's getting a little too cocky because she's blinded by we're so close to getting revenge, again, versus justice. She's using kind of, again, the fact that, hey, I work with the guy who turns on the signal for Batman. I have an insight to wherever he's going and what he's thinking of on this mystery, so we'll never be caught. Getting very cocky. And again, it's like the old thing of like, if you seek revenge, dig two graves, and then you kind of become, you're towing the line yourself. You're becoming a little sinister in your pursuit of justice, for what you think is justice.
Sure.
Okay, this is probably the best gag in the movie, this whole thing. After he's been beaten up so many times by Batman and Bruce Wayne, it's like, check the room. Anything in the room? Nope. He just looks Batman straight in the eye, like, I've been beaten up enough by this guy. Nope. They don't pay me enough for this job. Duquesne's already been laid off from his job. I don't need this.
Right.
This is when our little hoity-toity kind of like art, kind of tree monologue pays off. You're like, hey, I painted the tree I told you about.
Yeah, I don't know. The painting and the art thing, that was another thing for me where, Greg, I'm sorry. I really do feel like the first two acts of this movie are decent setup, and the payoff is, like I said, I like the idea of the three Batwomen. I'm just going to have to get critical here because this is, like I said, this is kind of the point of the movie where, I hate to say it, but I do kind of just phase out a little bit. I just feel like with the art thing, it's like I barely even remember that this character is an artist to begin with,
Right. I mean, look, I agree. I think you pinpointed it exactly, Tiki. When Bane does enter the film, that's when the cracks really start to form.
Right.
And because,
like,
honestly,
I like it more than I do because I do think there are a lot of interesting moving parts to it.
I mean, look, just to address it. I mean, I want to be clear. Years ago, when you first watch, it's the cool factor of, hey, Bane's in this, and we have like the cool reveal of the mystery. But if you really think about it, it's like, yeah, the cracks start to form with. Here's the thing, I love the actor Hector Elizondo.
I don't necessarily think that Bane drags down the movie either. I want to be clear there. I simply think that the screen time would have been a little bit better used, elsewhere. I think it's more of a matter of kind of just like, we don't really need Bane in this story more than he's like an actively bad component of it.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, Tiki, is that we don't. Is that Bane's kind of a whammo blammo? We need to zhuzh up the third act. Like, no, we don't. We
exactly.
Push on with the motivations. Let's use all the Bane time, essentially, in the cool Bane action, in lieu of let's develop like the revenge plot, which is where we could flesh out our three Batwomen. But we're not doing that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would have probably elevated it
Yeah.
from like a, right now I'd probably give this movie a 7 out of 10. That would have.
Because I mean, you and I mean, I'm on the right page. We're like the Carlton Duquesne aspect. I think there's a lot we can, instead of like adding muscle to
Sure.
replace him. I
Yeah.
want to push forward in the whole, like, oh my God, Duquesne's daughter is Batwoman. We're not happy about that. I mean, Penguin's got umbrella weapons. I don't think we need like a giant hulking guy in a mask to really make more of a dramatic emphasis in that scene.
Hmm.
But I'm just the Bane's credit, just so good. I call BS on this Bane moment though. He's just waiting in that crate the whole time. It's really cool how he enters, but it makes no sense. Anyway,
he's just like, he's sitting around in there. He's got some Dennis the Menace comics, Dragon. He's good.
and a flashlight. You got a flashlight.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a proximity sensor or something. I don't know.
Mento sandwich.
I love this. Speaking of mundane, I love this that Penguin and Rupert Thorne is playing cards because again, this movie they wanted to give Rupert Thorne a shtick because here's the thing: they got John Vernon back to do the voice of Rupert Thorne, but again, they knew they weren't going to have time to develop Rupert Thorne, so it's like, well, give him a thing. He messes with playing cards a lot, so ergo, they're playing cards. That's what they did. Anyway,
you know what? I think that works okay.
Oh, I know it's not bad. I mean, because we've had wonderful Rupert Thorne already. We don't really need to do it again. I mean,
right.
It's fine. And the fact we got him back is cool. And again, the idea being of this triad, you have the muscle and the henchman coming from Carlton Duquesne. You have the business coming from the arm. The guns are coming from Penguin. Probably the mob resources and money, and kind of like paying off the right people. That's Rupert Thorne with his connects. Mm-hmm. So again, it's kind of like a mob triad. Okay, this is the scene I'm talking about. This is where Kevin Conroy, really, one of the two scenes that really impresses me with him, where you have him basically doing like a Maltese Falcon, sort of like the 40s detective doing the expository unraveling the mystery bit.
Sure.
It's like, let me jog your memory. The three, you met her in an art class. That sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's. I don't think, like, to me, it doesn't really blow me away, but it's good.
Well, I'm just saying, there's a tension in the scene where, like, Sonya, she's caught now, and you see her in the scene, she's about to reach for her gun, like, and Batman knows it. That's what I'm saying. And of course, knowing these, like, she has an affinity for Batman, the fact she's willing to go those lengths. And again, had we not had, like, a Bane interruption in this scene about, hey, things are going topside on the ship, we need to.
Yeah, maybe that's what doesn't play for me, Dragon. The fact that it just kind of gets interrupted, I don't know.
You look at this tension here, like these again. I think there's a really interesting dramatic thing. Like, where do we go from here? And then, well, here's where we go from here. We can't go from here because we got to go back. We got to team them all up for the climax.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Okay. That right there. You just hit the nail on the head.
That's what I'm saying.
We have to team them up for the climax. That sentence. Mm-hmm. That to me is kind of the fatal flaw and why I kind of phase out from this movie. Because it's like once it's just kind of like Robin's like, hey, welcome to the superhero team up. It's just, it just kind of turns into that. It's just kind of like, all right, well, it's like we're just. I don't mean for this to sound derogatory, Dragon, but when we get into just the whole like the basic, just like, oh, they're all teaming up against the bad people. To me, it's like it kind of slightly veers into like, all right, now I'm watching a kid's movie.
And that's the thing. It's not like a really bad thing, but just knowing what the DCAU Batman's so capable of, with their climaxes and everything. The climax in the third act is purely aesthetic with very few kind of touchstone moments. Very few. Right. But for the most part, it is purely aesthetic. I mean, it's cool stuff in the aesthetic, but it's just like, is it really as kind of like rich as the other stuff? No. I want to admit though, my favorite gag in the movie though is the playing card, but like they unmask Batwoman. It's like, Kathy, and it's like all the playing cards go in the Penguin's face. What the? Also, by the way, this henchman that's holding Batwoman right now, he's from the You Scratch My Back episode, the one that great moment in New Adventures where Batman just lets Nightwing go after the thug, and the thug's like, oh my god, Batman's just staring at me. He just runs off. It's the mustache guy from the
right.
episode.
Yeah.
Okay, that moment right there with Carlton Duquesne when he's about to hit his daughter and he doesn't. That's why I love that character.
Yeah. That right there. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I'm glad you highlighted that. That's great.
That's why I love Carlton Duquesne in this movie. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that, again, like he doesn't hit it. I know it sounds like he doesn't hit his daughter, but no,
he doesn't hit his daughter. Oh my god!
What a fact that again, there's a complex familiar. Again, there's a Tony Soprano element. He does love his family, but
Uh-huh.
again, there is business before there's a conflict of
This
interest.
moment kind of reminds me of Dragon, and this is going to be high praise, but I kind of mean it. Like I'm not saying it's as good as this moment, but as far as like the subtlety and the emotion goes, it kind of reminds me of the one moment that I love so much from the original How to Train Your Dragon.
I knew you were gonna bring that up.
Yeah. Stoic right after the fight, where he has that brief little look of regret.
Yep, I know. I feel you on that. I do. Okay, so let me talk about this sequence here. So one, I just want to talk about our set piece here, and I do love the luxury cruise liner. It's with the fancy elevator and everything. They're kind of fighting and style. And there was this fun line about, "I'm going to check the boutiques before I blow the boat up." And we saw the boutiques. Like we're going to be thrown to some of the boutiques during the action scene right here. Like he's about to blow up some of the boutiques on the second level here.
Yeah.
But okay, so with the Bane, so we had to recast Bane because unfortunately Henry Silva, who voiced Bane classically, he passed away, so they couldn't get him. It's a shame because I thought he did such an excellent job in the role. Now we have Hector Elizondo in the role. And Hector Elizondo is a great actor, but unfortunately, and I was blinded to this as a kid because oh cool, it's Bane, before I realized, oh wait a minute, I don't know if this is actually working. Where Elizondo, he does this thing as Bane that I wish he got more time. It sounds like he just didn't have enough time with the role, and either that or they try to mandate something because he says Senor Batman. That's a dumb line. He's just saying Mr. Batman over and over again.
Okay, that is exactly the kind of thing where I'm like, all right, we're watching a kid's movie now. And that shot right there, all right, we're watching a kid's movie. Look, hey kids, it's multiple Batwomen, and they're all coming in to save the day. Kids movie, feel good, yay.
Yeah. You see what I mean, though? It's like, hey, we need to establish Bane speaks Spanish. Like, I get it. He speaks Spanish. Don't say Senor Batman. He's just saying Mr. Batman all the time. It sounds dumb. I'll give you, him calling Duquesne amigo, given the perverse nature of it. But, that, let's not go crazy with it. To be fair, again, the action with Bane is great. And the really cool thing about our showdown later on coming up with Batman and Bane is that's truly, because again, the last time Bane fought Batman, it was Superman in disguise, and the time before that, it was a dream. So this is really the revenge for Batman humiliating him the first time they met. So that's the cool thing in this action between the two of them. Again, the action's cool, but
maybe could have hyped that up a little bit more in the plot.
I mean, you said again, it's like a throwaway line, but you're right though. But it's the fact that Bane really doesn't have room in this movie. It's just,
he doesn't. He comes in and he's just I'm going to intrude on the screen time.
Because I mean, all we do is, and here's the thing: it would have been there was a choice between either we have Bane or we have Carlton Duquesne, and I think Carlton Duquesne was the smart choice, but we did two instead of just doing one.
Right.
Because you either have Bane just trying to do an enterprise where he's going to take over the operation, which they imply was probably what was going to happen, but we didn't do that because we didn't have enough time, or we do Carlton, which we only get the important beats, but not enough. Anyway, well, all right. Also, Penguin's boat is awesome with the penguin design built into the boat. Just the little things. Now, this is where Bane just okay, I want to call out a really stupid thing in the climax that has just happened, okay?
Yeah.
So you'll notice, we have Carlton Duquesne hanging his bait here. And by the way, this is a fun little reference before I get in my gripe. When Batman and Bane fought each other for the first time, Robin was in this exact position, the death trap, where Bane just hangs people by chains and drowns them in water. That's cool.
I can respect that.
That's cool. Now here's the dumb thing that gets us there. The idea was that Batwoman is supposed to go on the boat and put a timed explosive on, then leave. That was the plan. So when Batman catches her and he's glib and justifiably glib and you're lucky, this is a really dangerous thing you're doing here. Let's get you out of here. Especially given that Bruce Wayne kind of likes this girl. So her go-to move is hey, I'm gonna activate the bomb now that my father's here, and so is Batman, who just saved my bacon. And guess how much time's on the detonator? 2 minutes. I'm going to give us all 2 minutes to get off this boat, or else I'm just going to kill my father. So, it just feels like you put 2 minutes on the bomb, really?
Oh, and I just now realized, right? It's another Bane bomb plot. What the hell is up with that?
Well, I mean, he didn't put the bomb on there, but
no, I know, but still, it's Bane in the vicinity of a bomb plot. It's such a weird thing.
In a movie, it's Bane in a movie with a bomb plot for the third time.
Right.
You're not wrong. And of course, all the ammunition, very, very high, munitions and everything, very explosive.
Mm-hmm.
And again, how this boat isn't sinking faster is beyond me, given how much explosives are on that boat. But I'll take that. That's fine. But again, I call BS on putting 2 minutes on the bomb that did all this, though.
No, it is. Yeah, for sure.
And anyway, knowing that your father is there and in peril and probably unconscious somewhere. And again, this is a gimme. Like, hey, we don't want people to get confused about which Batwoman's doing what's, and now they all have to take their mask off. It's like, come on, really? Probably leaving a very expensive glider in the Gotham Bay too. I'm just gonna,
Right.
Anyway. And again, also just to call this out, dude, the third act with, like, we need explosions in the third act. That does feel very Manday. We need explosions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, that's just kind of why I'm just like, all right, this isn't great. This, it kind of loses its intrigue.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like other places, like there was an oil derrick in Sub-Zero, there was at least cause for an explosion there.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Fantastic. I can't say that we had. I'm not saying Manday necessarily in the worst sense. I'm just saying this out of the explosions we've gotten feels the less like all the direct-to-video, even Phantasm, the theatrical, all end with having an explosion, the climax. But at least I think the other explosions were cooler and less like I would have preferred like a real knuckle down, drag out fight and kind of like argument between father and daughter during this climax versus
exactly. Yeah, give me interpersonal character development any day. You hit it for sure.
Cool as the Batman Bane fight is, though, it is pretty sweet. Also, of course, now Bane's pumping up the venom. My God, Batman takes such a beating in this fight. I feel for him. And again, look at the speed on Bane in this fight, dude. My favorite bit there, where Batman kind of gets hit when he charged at him there a little bit during the grapple. Every time he uses that grapple to save his bacon. And then there's one of the coolest Bane bits ever here, when he climbs up by divoting his fingers in the hull of the ship.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. I guess.
I know, not a lot of substance. I'm just glomming on to what we have.
Right.
Here's one bit of substance we do have in this climax. This is a nice bit. Where Kathy, despite the differences she has with her father, Carlton does prove he is a good man deep down. At least a man who cares about his family.
I'm sorry, Joe. I think I'm kind of a little bit behind you.
Well,
I know it doesn't really matter because we're getting towards the end, but
yeah, I'm at an hour and it's about to be 4 minutes.
Oh, how did I get it? Okay. Well, this concerns me for Spielberg month, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, point being, Carlton saved his daughter. Yay, Carlton. Let's do the Carlton dance.
Previously on Bates Motel, I saved my daughter.
Not your best pool. Okay, this is Rocky getting her revenge here on the Penguin by wrecking his boat and catching him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But again, we got to give Rupert Thorne something to do in this movie outside of shuffle cards. And again, this film is kind of the last send-offs for a lot of classic alumni from the animated series days. Because John Vernon, this is before he passes away, and like his last turn on Rupert Thorne. And again, as I said, Hastings and Costanzo.
They actually have a pretty good send-off, which we'll get to.
They do. I mean, I really, it's a subtle bit. Subtle as all get at, but I love the, if you're going to have one last Jim Gordon moment, it's really nice. And it's a really nice, quiet moment, but we'll So let's see. So Sonya, if I recall, again, it kind of bothers me, like we knocked Sonya out so she can come in for the big saber. Did we have to knock her out? I mean, there's a lot going on in this scene, but, I guess we can't have, like, all the Batwoman doing stuff. And that is a move Bane lifting Batman's head, there's something they could not get away with on the animated series, but in the post-Kids WB era, like, hey, we can do more violent, imitatable things, grabbing people by their heads.
Yep.
Yeah. This is really, he almost breaks Batman's back here. Now, again, knowing with the Nightfall, though, it's kind of huge. It's like he's so close to breaking the back.
I'm sorry, Dragon. At this point in the movie, I just kind of phase out. You know me. I can only do so much with the whole. And they
Oh yeah, but enjoy it for fun.
fight.
We got ringside seats here, man. Come on.
I don't. There's no substance here, Dragon. The
I know
substance
there's no
is just
stuff.
drained at
We
this
have some
point.
cool action beats though, like the metal.
I just don't care. Dragon, this is exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of this commentary. Like, at a certain point with this movie, it's just white noise for me. It just turns into I just don't care.
Okay, well here's something. Just to file away for the future of the things here. So again, Bane's fate here. He's just falling, as many villains tend to do, but Bane will be back in Batman Beyond.
Okay.
I was saying it's gonna be a real memorable return of what we do to Bane next time we see him. I'll say that much. Let's see. So again, after taking a whopping from Bane, we have again Sonya coming in, kind of saving the guy, kind of spawned the idea of the whole Batwoman gimmick here. So I mean, it's kind of nice, seeing Batman about broken ribs and God knows what else has happened to him being saved.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. She's coming in for the save.
I'm like all out of sync with you too. I'm sorry, man.
Okay, now coming up is the bit I've been hyping up though. I do love this moment where so as Sonya saves Batman, we have Gordon Bullock. I'm speaking. It hasn't happened yet. I'm just speaking to it. It's about to happen, so I don't miss it. Bullock and Gordon are gonna have the moment like, oh my God, that's Sonya up there. One of our cops is the Batwoman.
I totally agree. That is like it's almost kind of like a weird sort of like full circle thing for them. Like, where Bullock, especially Dragon, I feel like it's a full circle thing for Bullock where throughout the whole series he's pretty much been the curmudgeon-y like anti-Batman cop,
anti-vigilante for the whole duration, and it's been right under his nose the whole time.
And I honestly think that's perfect. That's a perfect wrap up for him.
And here's the
Gordon. We don't really get much. But I do like that the last time we see Gordon, he's helping Batman. That's nice. This
is exactly what I'm talking about. I just love that subtle note of like Gordon's helping Batman his last moments on screen in the DC.
Yeah,
that's really. Yeah. That really touches me. Seriously, it does. It's like that's the note I want to go out on with Gordon now. That's the last time we're gonna see him. It's nice. Mm-hmm. I mean, basically, he gets like a throwaway line. It's a nice throwaway line. We give him a throwaway line in Return of the Joker, so that's like the last time we mention Jim Gordon. But it's nice. Oh, this is a really cute detail. Like, there's a photo of her parents who ran the shop that Rupert Thorne set ablaze. So it's like a little nice reminder of why she's doing everything there. Why she's cleaning up her desk. And again, Gordon would never. I mean, Gordon can work with the Batman, but he can never employ a Batman. So he would he has to fire Sonya. But he made sure the DA didn't go after her. So Gordon did protect his cops. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Nice humble moment with Batman here. The whole maybe I don't take it personally. No, somehow I doubt that. Of course, Batman takes it personally, deep down, because he wants things to change, and he's always motivated by something personal. It's a nice moment. So again, the substance kind of drifts in maybe towards the tail end here a little bit.
It's good, Dragon. I just feel like at this point it's just a little bit too little, too late.
You're right. I mean, we're tying up loose ends. That's pretty much what we're doing here. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong at all in any of this, Tiki. The third act is against whammo blammo action. That's all we got.
And they fight.
You're right. I made no promises of anything else.
Okay, I do like this connection though.
Yeah.
How these two, it's like, one of their loved ones is entering prison as the other one is leaving prison. That's a nice kind of sort of like connection that they have, little bond. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of grasping here.
It was a really classy thing that Batman did to make this happen, though, where he found the evidence and he let Sonya deliver that evidence. So, like, again, she brought these three, the three of the friends together, so she got to help, She got to help kind of like, give them all closure in a sense, and by proxy of, again, Batman being the symbol that inspired the three. And I mean, that is nice. We don't really make that idea sing as much as it's more of an afterthought than it is kind of like kind of a through line. And again, I want to be. This is where I'm going to get all mushy. Okay, so Kevin Conroy in the DCAU through New Adventures, they told him to take out kind of the bon vivant kind of like the himbo Bruce Wayne, the lighthearted Bruce Wayne. So in this scene, he got to bring it back, and you can hear it in the delivery. He gets to be lighthearted Bruce again, and I just seriously, there's like the charm returning is just really nice, like him saying "Twala," and just Conroy's charm and the whole running gag of her catchphrase is "Twala." I don't know, it's whatever it is. But, just Conroy's charm, and just it's just wonderful that he got a chance to. He gets to bring it out here and once more in Justice League, like in one episode. So it's kind of nice that he got to bring it back in a movie, and just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of nice to see it come back.
Yeah, cool.
Originally, the movie did not end with him getting the girl. They kind of made that choice of, you know what, let's give Bruce Wayne a break for a change. Let's, instead of ending on a downer note or father.
And then that's the last note on any sort of relationship drama that we're ever going to get with Bruce Wayne, Dragon. Am I right?
Well, I mean...
This is basically the Alfred, the Alfred seeing him in Paris at the cafe and whatever, you just kind of tips the hat to Alfred, and that's it, Dragon. He just goes off to live a happy life. Look at these two cute kids going off into the sunset together.
All right, don't get glib. Let's talk about our fun credits here.
All right, sorry.
Seriously, I'd really
what these credits remind me of, Dragon? They kind of remind me of the end credits for Iron Man 3.
You know what they remind me? They remind me more of like a Kevin Smith wrap up, where we have like on the screen we have like literally all the people that popped up in the movie with the little credits on their names.
I could see that, yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong either. I'm saying you had more of it. I mean, you know what? Given we have like a music, I think you're right too. Yeah, it is kind of Iron Man 3, yes, yeah.
I want to take away your Kevin Smith thing. Your Kevin Smith thing's on point as well.
Yeah. Because I forgot the whole music thing where, there was kind of like a music playing, like kind of the Iron Man 3 kind of like, yeah. Again, like a nice final shout out for some of these actors who, again, some of them it's the last time we're going to see them play these roles. Almost like a little Endgame-esque if you think about it. Just them kind of like getting their the name fancy on the screen one last time.
It is, yeah.
And again, Tara Strong, even though we don't like the scene she has in the movie, we like her.
we do. That's an understatement, but yes. Yeah. We like Tara Strong.
And again, just what the note of the movie is to say before we just go into final thoughts. Again, I do. Yeah, it's a fling, Batman and Kathy Duquesne, but Batman goes through a lot in this movie. His image is being used by like a third party, and he's getting the crap beat out of him by Bane. Let him have like an intermittently happy end.
No, I mean, to be fair, Dragon, I was joking about the whole again, no relationship drama ever, but I agree. Like, honestly, I'm kind of half serious in that I kind of wish it was the last note we had,
Yeah.
Because I do think it was like a good kind of it was a good sort of like last. If there was a character, I feel like she was a good kind of mirror to Bruce. So no, I am with you there.
All right, let's wrap this puppy up with final thoughts. What do you got?
Yeah, I like this, Dragon, but as you can tell, honestly, this conversation pretty much went as I expected. Where I like the first two acts well enough that I've got stuff to say about them, but I really think that Bane is unfortunate. I hate to say it because I do like Bane as a character, but he really is just. He just kind of actively drags this movie down. I mean, I think you hit it right on the head. Yeah. Where what?
No, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you hit it right on the head. Where I really wish, I feel like a more interpersonal, father-daughter conflict at the end of this movie would have been a lot more satisfying than the boom explosion Michael Bay shit that we do get. I mean, overall, it's okay, Dragon. The mystery's solid, but it just kind of feels like a very middle-of-the-road Batman project to me.
Yeah. Okay, final thoughts for me. This film is kind of the black sheep of the DCAU Batman films. Unavoidably because, honestly, I think it's unavoidable because any iteration of Batwoman is sort of the black sheep to the Bat family. I mean, even more than Jason Todd, technically, when you think about it. Because at the end of the day, she is an outsider on her own crusade, which even in this film is still the case. She's not indoctrinated into the family. She doesn't have like an arc like Batgirl. She's like an arc like it's through seasons and like Barbara Gordon would get to know her and so on and so forth. She's always towing the line. In this movie, got off easy pre-Kate Kane, because imagine how harder this would have been to introduce her. Hey, Bruce Wayne has a cousin that he's had the whole time that we never talked about.
Right.
So at the end of the day, the way I feel this film is that we did a serviceable job for a character that is not easily added to the DCAU's take on Batman. I mean, again, 50s Batwoman made it a lot easier than it could have been. They made an attempt at legitimizing that story, and to the film's credit, it's a clever little caper. It's got some fun set pieces, but it's really hard to invest in our Batwoman when there's three of them, and it's at the end of the day, it's cool in certain parts. It just doesn't strike the emotional core the other three films do. Like I can have like a big emotional attachment to any of the other three films, but I don't with this one. I mean, it's all spectacle, but nothing that gets me in the feels outside of maybe like that Kevin Conroy moment at the end. But that's not a lot, That's
True.
That's what I got. So that's Batwoman for you. Mystery solved.
All right. Well, Dragon, we're inching ever so closer to Justice League. We have only one stop along the way until then, so why don't you tell us about it?
Technically two stops, but yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad.
A silent night in Gotham. A cat causing a ruckus. Got milk. Will Bat catch cat? In a typical date night for the Dark Knight. Tune in next time to find out. Same animated Bat time, same animated Bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with Chase Me.
I'm just working for the Joker.
Gee, Batman, it's almost like this is some sort of superhero team-up or something.